Hello, QVS AP World History students. I hope you are having a good weekend, or at this point when you're watching this video, maybe you had a good weekend because it is Monday. And I hope that you are ready to move on to week 4 of Essential Unit 1. It's been a very busy, lots of work unit. So I kind of hit hard and heavy in the beginning of the year, not to scare you away. Definitely, I welcome all of you and want you to kind of stick to it and stay in the course. But just so that you understand like what's ahead of you in terms of the expectations this year, it is world history for crying out loud. And with that being said, we have to study all of the different regions of the world in all of these different time periods. So in order for us to do that effectively, I try to create a lot of activities for you to do and kind of create ways for you to look at all of these different regions of the world in depth, in great detail. But I know it's been a lot of work for you, and I applaud you for kind of sticking to it. Um, Week 4 of this unit, it's the week for assessments. So last week you might have noticed that we looked at our final two regions of the world, and that was so that this week we could make some comparisons. So now that you've looked at all of those different places like East Asia and South Asia, Africa, Europe, the Americas, um, in and around the period from 1200 to 1450, now the idea is for you to make some comparisons. What regions of the world were more similar? What regions were very different? What contributed to those similarities and differences? That's the whole purpose of the final week. And with that being said, it's also the time where I need to assess your knowledge. So you will take your first test for QVS AP World History. So I want to go to the course page. I want to show you around, talk about how you can even use the kind of resources on the AP College Board page to prepare yourself for the Essential Unit 1 test. So let's go to the course page and talk about where you're going this week. So of course you need to scroll down to Essential Unit 1. So these are the different regions of the world that we've been studying. Again, the period between 1200 and 1450. In week 1, you looked at like political, economic, and cultural features of East Asia with a huge focus on China, of course. And you also looked at the Islamic world and how that then diffused from its origin point in Saudi Arabia. And then we looked in week 2 at South Asia. You came to understand the importance of the Indian Ocean trade. And I still am curious about your impressions of Linda Schaefer's claim about Southernization. Like, is it a strong force then, like Westernization is today? And then we looked at the Americas, so you saw the continuity between like the Olmec and the Maya and the Aztec. And then if we go into South America, the importance of the Inca in this time period. And then finally, in the third week, we went to Africa and Europe. Same thing, looking at like political structures and um, social and economic systems. Here's a big thing that you can even do when you're drawing comparisons. Uh, Consider whether the region of the world was more centralized in its political form. Like if you think back to China and the Tang and Song dynasties, they were highly centralized. They had a strong bureaucratic system that unified those dynastic periods. Where if we look at Europe at this time, especially in the early Middle Ages, they were largely decentralized. So, like, I'm sure you had political states that had strong central powers, but the entire region was not really unified very tightly, especially after, like, if you think about events before the period 1054 and the schism between the Orthodox and the Catholic Church. But again, that goes before that period from 1200 to 1450, but it would help if you knew features like that about Europe. So think about like that centralized versus decentralized, and that will let you draw some comparisons. And then think like even, I know we didn't spend a lot of time looking at Japan, but Japan had a very feudal structure. And if you're familiar with Europe at this time, feudalism was a political style that was practiced in Europe in the period from 1200 to 1450. So you could compare European feudalism to Japanese feudalism. So this is what I mean in terms of looking at them like culturally, economically, politically, to see how similar, how different they were. And that kind of takes us into week 4, because you see that the first activity here is AMSCO. And I'm going to open it up. Steve Heimler does a great little 5-minute video in comparing, so I encourage you to watch him. And then I give you some maps of these different places that we've investigated over time. So as you're making those comparisons or considering them, you kind of are reminded in terms of the different regions of the world that we've looked at. And by looking at the maps, like I love maps because I think they're very helpful in terms of helping you draw conclusions about time and place. Okay, so do that last AMSCO section first, and then you're going to do the progress check on the College Board page. If you have not created an AP College Board account, in fact, I should probably take you back to the beginning of my course page because this is extremely important, extremely important. I want to take you back up here outside of Essential Unit 1. And right up here gives you the course code for my AP class on the College Board page. So you have to create a College Board account. Most of you probably already have one. You have to join a class. When you join the class, the course code is right here, and then I'm going to take you to the class here. Okay. I give it a minute to load. I know I could pause the video at this point of time, but I'm going to make you just kind of wait and watch me log in if I can. And I'm going to show you once again. I think I took you to these features last week, but that's okay. It doesn't hurt to repeat, just so that it's clear on how you can use these sources. So I'm going to go to the AP World History one. If you're taking multiple classes, you might have multiple classes on your dashboard. Unit 1 is open for you, and there's all kinds of wonderful resources. So like if you click here, you can watch the daily videos for each of these different topics. None of them are longer than 5-8 minutes in length. They're a nice little study tool, but what I need you to do is I want you to do this progress check. So if you click on the progress check, it's going to open up practice questions for you to answer for in preparation for my unit test. So it's really important to use those resources on the AP College Board page. After you do the progress check, I need you just to kind of upload a note here saying, Mrs. Sedmak, I did the progress check. And then that'll give me an indication to go to the College Board page to see how you did. And again, like you're not going to get a bad grade if you get 5 out of 15 on the progress check. That's not the purpose. The whole purpose of the progress check is to give you practice for the essential unit test, okay? So this system is put in place to expose you to questions, to give you some practice. So do that progress check. It won't take you longer than 15 minutes, or I think there are 15 multiple choice questions. And then the whole purpose of the concept map is for you to take all of the notes from the unit and condense them down into one page. So you've been doing these AMSCO note templates for the end of each AMSCO section. Now I want you to take all of your notes from all of those AMSCO note pages and condense them into one concept map. Your concept map can be digital, so you can create a Jamboard, and if you don't know how to do that, there's like a little instructional video right here on how to make a Jamboard. Or if you want to do old-fashioned paper pen, you can do that. Your Jamboard or your concept map has to have like drawings and graphics, at least 2. It has to be comprehensive of the unit, so it has to cover the period from 1200 to 1450. There's some AP themes and vocabulary that you integrate into the concept map. And on your concept map, highlight like the main ideas, the vocabulary, and all of that. But it's supposed to be visual. And the whole purpose of this is to reduce your like 30 pages of notes down into 1 page. So then when we get to the end of the year, when you're going to study for the AP exam, you're not going to be so anxious because you have like 100 pages of notes to go through. You can go to your 9 concept maps to study and prepare for that exam. Okay, so you'll have a collection of 9 of these at the very end. It's also a nice review for the Unit 1 test, and I'm going to take you to the Unit 1 test right now. So by next Sunday, you have to do this Unit 1 test. And I know that's going to create some anxiety for those of you who are starting the class late. And of course, I'll make accommodations related to time for those of you who have started late. But notice that the test is packaged in 2 parts. You must do both parts. So the part 1 is all multiple choice. And it explains to you like the breakdown of the AP exam that you will take in May. Okay. And in this test, there are 40 multiple choice questions and you have 40 minutes. So if you open or make an attempt in this test, I want to show you there's going to be a timer that's going to count down. Okay. Your time taking this test. So you got to be careful and make sure that you answer the questions in the 40-minute period. All of them are stimulus based. So there's like a document or something that you have to read in order to answer the questions. Okay. So you get 40 minutes for 40 questions, 1 minute per question. Then you also have to go and do part 2 of the test. And if you open up part 2, it's right here. And I'm going to open it up for you. And you're going to see that there are 2 short answer questions. So the short answer question is here. If you look at it, you get a hint to see what it is. And then you have to type your answer in and go to the next one. Okay. So that is the test for Essential Unit 1 in AP World History. Again, make sure you do both parts, part 1 and part 2 by next Sunday evening. And then at that point, I will give you a Unit 1 grade, and I'm going to bring myself back up here because I want to talk about your Unit 1 grade. It's not just based on the test alone. So my threshold for mastery on that test is 70%, and that's the 2 parts combined together. So you want to make sure that you get at least 70%, but that is not what's going to define like A level and B level. There is a important component that you do all of the activities for mastery. So all of those activities leading up until then, there is a notes requirement. So you have to do the notes, you have to do the progress check, and the concept map is kind of like a reflection of your learning. All of those things collectively will then constitute your unit grade. And all of those items are outlined on the unit rubric, where you will have to make sure that you have at least 4 of 6 of them mastered at A level. So if you struggle with content in the unit test, but you did really well on the progress check on the College Board site, then those things kind of like balance each other out and you can still get an A for the unit. I don't have any extra A level activity. You just have to make sure that you pay attention to the unit rubric, which also can be found in the syllabus, but I'll post it in the email this Sunday as well. Okay, so have a productive week. Remember to contact me if you ever have any questions. I'm happy to help you. All right, bye.